Welcome back, heroes and villains, and whatever Solas thinks he is these days. Today we're diving deep into Dragon Age: The Veilguard, a game where magic, mystery, and one very dramatic, bold elf collide. The Veilguard is absolutely stunning, a perfect blend of cinematic beauty and chaotic energy. Right from the start, you're thrown into a gorgeous, high fantasy world with breathtaking visuals, moody lighting, and that classic Dragon Age atmosphere. But let's be real, the best part? It starts with a bar fight. It's like the game is saying, forget long-winded exposition, here's some fists. Yeah, it's based on your bad decision, so, let's go.
Be ready to talk by the time I get to you.
Darling, you're adorable.
It's the perfect mix of action, humor, and immersion, setting the stage for an adventure that's equal parts legendary and unhinged.
Not enough gold in the world for this.
Tarek, now! Meet Bianca. She'd like you to stay a while.
First off, character creation is insane. You can tweak everything. Facial structures, scars, eye color, you can even add cataracts, because nothing screams fantasy adventure like struggling to read a spell scroll. You've got 4 races to choose from. Human, which is very basic. Elf, agile, mystical, and probably presents Solas. Kunari, big, strong, and has horns that could double as a coat rack, and you could even choose the style of your coat rack, which is kinda nice. Dwarf, the one race that still can't use magic because, reasons, It's the kind of system where you start out thinking, I'll just tweak a few things, and then suddenly 3 hours have passed and you're obsessing over nose bridge width and eyebrow curvature like a professional sculptor. Whether you want to look like a battle-hardened warrior or a mystical elf, or maybe just some guy who got dragged into this mess, the tools are there to bring that vision to life. But if that sounds like too much effort, no worries. There's a mirror of transformation later in the game, meaning you can always revisit your look if you just speed through it the first time like I did. So whether you're a perfectionist or just want to jump into the action, the game's got you covered. Another cool feature during the character creation in Dragon Age: The Veilguard is that you actually get to choose your last name. And no, it's not just for show. It actually affects your passive skills. Your surname ties into your character background, subtly shaping how you play. Some might give you combat bonuses, others might boost your relations with a certain faction. My playthrough was on the hard difficulty. You have a lot of choices when selecting how hard you want it to be. Personally, I like my fight tense. Every encounter feels like a real test of skill. Enemies hit harder, strategies matter, and button mashing your way through combat, yeah, that's not gonna cut it. I've been playing as a mage because, let's be honest, who wouldn't want to wield an orb of destruction in one hand and a dagger in the other? And let me tell you, this combat rocks.
Making the rest of us look bad. Gotcha.
Just get out of here nice and casual. Find Nev Gallus and stop Solas.
So, the story kicks off with Varric on a mission. The guy has been hunting down Solas, who, surprise surprise, isn't just some moody bald elf, but the Dread Wolf himself. Turns out, he's got a grand plan. Rip down the veil, flood the world with raw magic, and let the demons start the apocalypse. I mean, sure, I like magic too, but maybe not at the expense of, existence.
Wait! But I didn't do anything!
Get down.
Are they after us? Is it because of the bar?
Word travels fast in Minrathous.
Varric does what any reasonable person would do. He assembles a team in Minrathous to stop Solas before he turns Status into an all-you-can-eat buffet for spirits, darkspawns, and dragons. But here's the kicker. When you finally catch up to Solas, he basically just shrugs everything off and dumps the whole responsibility on you. You got this, right? Like, Thanks for the divine crisis, buddy, but maybe handle your own mess for once?
I was not destroying the world.
And if that wasn't enough, the elven gods are now breaking loose, dark spawns infestations are spreading, and some lovely blood rituals are making everything extra cursed. This chaos pulls us into the affairs of other factions, each with their own agendas, politics, and of course, willingness to use us as their personal problem solver. You know, how else are we gonna get that XP?
Ogre! That's an ogre!
Because when the world is ending, apparently the best solution is to throw a rookie into the mix and hope for the best.
Wasn't expecting to fight an ogre today.
Here is where it gets good. As a mage, I get a dagger and an orb, and also a staff, and you can choose which playstyle suits you better. That orb is not just for decoration, it dictates my elemental damage based on my gear. That goes for the staff also. It's all up to my loadout. And let's be real, dagger wielding mage just feels badass. Sure, I could stand back and spam spells with a staff, but why do that when I can get close and make it personal? Classes are super versatile, 3 classes and each one has 3 specializations. What makes it more fun for me? Well, blowing up enemies with arcane death? Check. Commanding my squad like a battlefield tactician? Absolutely. Playing on hard mode because pain is fun? You already know. Combat is not a mindless hack and slash where you just spam attacks and call it a day. You actually have to think. Commanding your squad can be the difference between a glorious victory or getting absolutely folded by an enemy that decided you were worth the effort. As I level up, combos just keep getting better, and pulling off the roll-time chain of abilities is so satisfying. And the powers, they actually feel powerful, beautifully designed, so when I unleash a spell, I want it to feel like I'm bending reality, not tickling my enemies with a slightly aggressive sparkles. Visually, the game is beautiful. The environments, the lighting, the spell effects, it's all beautiful. The world building in Dragon Age the Veilguard is nothing short of breathtaking. Every city, ruin, and overgrown forest feels alive, dripping with detail. It's one of the few games where I find myself choosing to walk instead of run, just to soak it all in.
Are we sure we want to do this?
Every step through Tatus feels purposeful, whether it's the bustling streets of Minrathous or an eerie silence of blight-infested ruin. It's the kind of world that just doesn't exist for the player, and that immersion is what makes it so damn good. Puzzles, progression, and playstyles? Well, the skill tree is deep. You can build a Deathcaller mage or a Spellblade, like me. Shops being logged behind your level might seem restrictive at first, but honestly, it kinda makes sense. If I were a merchant in a world tethering on the brink of destruction, I wouldn't just hand off top gear to some rookie fresh off the first bar fight. Instead, the system feels like a way to ensure that only those who have proven themselves get the access to the best supplies. It adds a sense of progression, like earning trust of the world itself. As I level up and gain renown, merchants recognize my contributions, I guess, and open their doors to better equipment, reinforcing the idea that I'm not just another adventurer, I'm becoming a legend. Puzzles, they keep things interesting because nothing says a hero's journey like getting stuck on a glowing rock for 20 minutes, not sure where to go and what to do. Or is that just an IQ problem? I don't know. You command your team, developing their skills and playstyles. The story unravels beautifully for me, with every mystery tying back to the Blight, Elven gods, and blood magic shenanigans.
Hello again. Who are you?
A caretaker. I go where I am needed, dweller. Now, I am here.
And where is here?
The crossroads.
So, after spending a solid chunk of time in Dragon Age: The Veilguard, here's where I stand. I really like this game. It's got engaging combat, deep character progression, beautiful world building, and an intriguing story that keeps me hooked. Blending old school mechanics with some great improvements. The graphics, gorgeous. The powers, they feel amazing. And the combat, rewarding, challenging, not too complicated, and downright fun. My advice, play on harder difficulties.
Come get it.
Retrieve the knife and whatever else remains of these mortals.
Now, on the other hand, yeah, some of the modern Inquisitions pull me out of the experience a bit. There's the mirror where you can question your identity, pronouns, and so on. I kinda ignored that part.
A damn good-looking hero, if I do say so.
But there's a certain character, Tash. Well,
She always did like the flustered ones. In truth, Evitash's tastes are quite varied, although it is uncommon for her to be attracted to men.
Mother.
Perhaps
you gotta
because in
play
some
to
ways,
understand.
she acts more
It's
like a
not
man
that the
herself.
modern themes don't belong in gaming, but not everything modern needs to be in everything. I'm here for epic fantasy, magic battles, and darkspawn invasions, not a meta lecture on contemporary identity politics while I'm trying to manage my skill tree. It doesn't ruin the game for me, but it does make me roll my eyes occasionally, which is impressive considering my character creation slider barely left me with visible pupils. The pros outweigh the cons, and at the end of the day, I'm here for a great RPG experience, and Veilguard delivers. Whether you love it or find the certain choices questionable, one thing's for sure. This game is worth playing. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed the video, support the channel by liking and subscribing. It means a lot to me, and that means that I'll produce these kinds of videos even more.
Visitors! What a marvelous surprise! Any trouble with the lift? Our last guests were stuck for hours. Poor souls. Oh. Professor Emmerich Volkaren of the Morn Watch.
Hello, Professor. We've never met, well, in person, but I've been writing to you.
Belara, my dear girl, what a pleasure. Surely you didn't come all this way just to see me.
Actually, we did. You see, we need a Fade expert.
I'm Rook.
Charmed.
I like that bit with the flaming skull.
It's nothing, really. Just an evocation of the flame of the last steps.
Looks great.
Thank you. You know, I'm never quite sure how these spells strike someone from outside Navarra. I'd be pleased to continue our conversation after I tend to some small business here.